Good morning. I'm here to talk to you about technology as a business enabler. My name is Rajendran and I represent Zoho. I have been lucky to have been associated with it for the past 25 years. Let's get started. I received this in WhatsApp recently about a student telling why he hates mathematics. The story goes that this is how his classwork is, and the homework is like this, but when it comes to exam date, this is what he gets: two sheep flying, one yellow and the other headed right. How much does a kilo of cement cost given that the cow is 10 years old? Completely from left field, flummoxed. That's exactly how many of us feel today with what corona and the COVID virus is doing to us. It's disruption from every angle possible. How are we to scramble? How are we to look at ways to overcome, to survive, to thrive in this new environment? Technology is going to play a very important role. I'm here to tell you a little about what I know that might be of help to you. This is the agenda. We're going to talk about Gartner and their trends. We're going to talk about an interesting law about why and how India is special, what an application is really, how work has changed, how you can escape from hell if you are getting a feeling you're there. We will say hi to Zoho, and I'll introduce two special X factors to you if we have the time. When I started researching for this talk, the first thing I did was search around for what's an important message I can share, one takeaway. They don't have an hour, just give me one single line that I can take away. This is it, friends. Today is the slowest day in technology for the rest of your life. Just like the coronavirus's exponential growth, this is a good exponential growth. Technology every day is speeding up at a breakneck pace, and you need to ride the wave or you're going to get blown away by the tsunami. What is this tsunami? I went around, looked for some authoritative content out there. Gartner is as authoritative as they get. So I asked them what are their strategic technology trends for 2020. Google, in a very friendly move, also showed me the trends of 2019, 2018. So I decided, let's put some trends of trends analysis. I went all the way back to 2010. Anybody remembers how the world was in 2010? This is how it was. Pay particular attention to the green boxes. As we go along every year, pay attention to the green boxes. The rest of it is junk. They were useful for the time being, perhaps, but somehow, inexplicably, they got booted out of the top 10. The booted out items, I am placing them above me, right there. You can see them piling up. 2011, social collaboration and next-gen analytics. 2012, again next-gen analytics. The green ones are the ones that are being retained. 2013, actionable analytics. 2014, smart machines make a come in. 2015, invisible pervasive analytics. Look at the pile-up. They are all rejects from the previous years. Some of them are just getting a new name. 2016, advanced machine learning. 2017, AI and advanced machine learning. There is virtual augmented reality out there. 2018, cloud to the edge, immersive experiences. 2019, again, augmented analytics, immersive technologies, empowered edge. And 2020, this was launched unfortunately before Corona hit us. So the game might have changed. So how do you explain this pile above me? And how do you explain those 5 that have retained their slot the moment ever since they came in? For that, we need to get into a book. It's not a book on technology, it's a book on marketing. It's called The Law of Acceleration, that features in the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. It's a classic. It's been around since 1995. Students even today swear by it. And I would like to introduce to you the law of marketing. The law of acceleration says successful programs are not built on fads, they are built on trends. Look at this curve. In red, you see a fad, something that comes overnight, burns itself out, captures the imagination of the post-millennial generation for a brief moment, and then vanishes ephemerally almost as soon as it came. And you've got the fashion. The fashion is a wave that keeps coming and going. It's shallower, but it lasts longer. But the trend grows secretly, unassumingly, while you're sleeping. Just like the corona wave hit us. We didn't know it was coming. And then suddenly it was everywhere. It takes time, but there is no stopping it. Compare the curve of the fad and the trend. The fad is like a wave at the seashore. Fast, you can see it coming, you can take evasive action. A trend is like the tide. If you don't take action, you're going to be submerged, you're going to drown. But if you take the right action, you're going to rise with the tide. Also, when you look back at the Gartner charts that I just showed you, there could be another reason why some of them dropped out. One reason we saw here is that it is a fad. It is a fashion. It's no longer a real trend. But there could be another reason. For that, we'll have to go to the Google Books Ngram viewer. An Ngram is any collection of letters that looks like a word that the Google Books engine has indexed and categorized from all the books in all the world that it has scanned, recognized characters, and internalized into its database. So you can actually search, tell me all the books that contain the word Frankenstein. Tell me all the books that contain the word silicono, ultra microscopic volcanoconiosis. When you do that, interesting things, beautiful insights start appearing. Take a look at this chart. This is the frequency of the word railways in Google Books, in books published in the years that you see below. From 1800, where there was no railways, and hence there were no books writing about railways, all the way till 2020, you see a chart. But what you also see is a peak in the middle, right there. And that peak, it shows the point where it was the maximum buzz. People were talking. Everybody was talking about it. But then, why does it fall down? Here is another. Frequency of steel in Google Books. Again, we see that dip. The dip in interest. Frequency of computerization. That is shocking. One would want computerization to be talked about more and more in books that are published in later times. Why is it dipping? 1990 was its peak. Software. A later peak than computerization, but again, we have hit the peak. It is not Google search words, it is Google Books incidences. The story behind this is when something stops being a trend and starts becoming ubiquitous, everywhere. You find it everywhere. You stop talking about it. Nobody writes books about furniture. Nobody writes books about water and air. It's just everywhere. There is no novelty involved in it anymore. That could be the reason why the dip is seen. So my question is, when you search for intelligent enterprise, technology enabled enterprise, have we passed the peak? Are we at the peak? Is the peak yet to come? Think about it. India, so many people are amazed by its mystery, by its heritage, by the unique mix of culture, diversity that it brings to the table. I have a little story to tell about why I think India is special. Long, long ago, 2500 plus years ago, when man wanted to convey a message from A to B, he had to run. He wanted to convey it faster, he had to run faster perhaps. But over time, he probably tamed and domesticated the horse, and you were able to convey a message faster on horseback. That was the paradigm shift, a quantum leap in communication technology. And then we had to wait until just about 200 years ago for the telegraph device to be born. Messages could be sent almost at the speed of light across wires. It was amazing. But there was a problem. The problem was, like Isaac Asimov said, the future is already here. It's just not distributed equally all around the world. So there were these two cities, Brussels and Aachen. Everything to the left of Brussels was beautifully networked by telegraph wires and lines. Everything to the east of Aachen was again networked, messages could fly. But because of the contour of the land that lay between these two cities, the rivers, the mountains that had to be overcome, no tunneling was done, these two cities were not connected. So anybody wanting to send a message from eastern Germany to England were stopped at the Aachen point. They couldn't get a message across as fast as telegraph could get them. One man came up with an idea. He didn't want to wait for the lines to be laid. He didn't complain that technology is not helping him. Instead, this is what he did. In the year 1849, he tied the messages to the feet of passenger pigeons, homing pigeons, and sent them between these two cities. There was a beautiful passenger messaging delivery system set up with failure and backup and everything taken care of, so that messages could travel from eastern Germany all the way to London through a midway stop through passenger pigeon. I am pretty sure some of you will at least recognize who this person is and what the company he gave birth to is. Yes, that's the company that became Reuters. The lesson we learn from this is you need to look behind you too. It's not just a mad advent of embracing the next available wave of technology. You need to have a midway compromise between the past and the future. It happened in India too. I am really proud of it. It seems the first train service between Mumbai and Thane, there was a mountain over which the train couldn't pass and the tunnel wasn't dug. So what did we do? We actually set up a balloon ferry service. The train would stop there and would ferry the passengers over the little hillock and continue. Jugaad, as they say. It continues even till today. You see a Rafale jet, you also see a camel there. That is India. And because we are Indian, I think these messages are uniquely important to us. Don't just look for a breakthrough, also look for bridging the past and the future. We are a country which is hugely divided. There are places that electricity hasn't reached, and there are places with blindingly fast internet. There are school students now learning via video conferencing, and there are school students who don't know what it is. Stop just obsessing about pioneering something. Look back as well as you look forward. And don't always try to be revolutionary. There is a time and place for it, of course, but also learn to balance the old and the new. We have a huge population and a diverse demography too. We need to be able to address the requirements of each and every one of them. What is an application? We keep talking about software, business applications, but what is an application? What is expected of a business process? What should software do? These are the basic expectations when you look at software. The first thing is it has to model an activity. It has to observe a person going through a particular motion, doing a particular job, and model it. Okay, this is the process you follow, this is where you wait, this is where you activate this next process, this is what you receive, this is what you do, this is what you send to. That modeling, why does that model help? It helps because we aim for a standard. Even if this person gets bored and leaves the job, even if this person gets promoted and is replaced by somebody who doesn't know how that works, even if this person is running a cold or unwell today, the show must go on. And for that, modeling an activity will help you aim for a standard. Organizations become professional when it doesn't depend on who is behind the wheels. Much of the work is automated. Much of the work also gives you the next piece, which is error-free activity. There is this human tendency to try things, break things, make mistakes, omissions, inclusions, and so on. So you model an activity and aim for a standard so that you can reduce error by automation. But this is where most business processes stop. Why do we do all these three? We do these three because it helps us free time from the boring chores of a business activity and elevates us to higher order activities that we can do to provide customer delight, to think from the perspective of the customer. That is important. And that's possible only when you have free time. Should we stop here? I don't think so. You should expect more. What more should be expected? You should expect context. You are not working in silos. If you are working as a project management manager and you're using a project management tool, you should also have some insights about the other aspects of the organization. Are my employees in today? Should we see that in the project management tool, or should it be some other tool which doesn't share information with this tool? Context becomes very, very important because over and over again, we have started realizing that one piece of software, one single piece of software cannot run your whole organization. It has to be an orchestra conducted centrally by a master musician, letting each person share context about who is stopping and who is picking up next. It has to be continuous. You shouldn't drop the ball, so to speak. From your mobile device to your laptop, from your home to your office, from your employees to your customers, from your organization to your partners and franchisees, the continuity is important. Also, it has to give you convenience because it's the convenient mind, it's the comfortable person who actually thinks creatively, who actually comes up with next generation ideas. We saw about radical thinking, about revolutionary work just now. To do that, you need to ensure that the current mode is running fine. And finally, you'll have to foster collaboration. No man is an island. Every one of us comes to the organization with a special skill. One of them is a designer, one of them is a developer, one of them could be a marketer, one of them could be a writer, one of them could be specialized in manufacturing, one of them could be a technical architect. Whoever you are, you're not an island. You need to communicate, collaborate, and create something together. Something that none of these people sitting individually at their places could have imagined, could have dreamt of creating. So your tools should enable context, continuity, convenience, and collaboration. Take a pause and think whether your toolkits do that. When you look at an organization, what are the typical organizational processes that happen day to day in the organization? You have HR and administration, people management. You have finance and payroll. That's the ticking clock inside the organization. Even if you don't make money, you have to make enough money to pay taxes. That's an important bit there. You have to communicate and collaborate between team members, between branches, with partners, with your customers. You'll have to do sales and marketing to attract prospects, convert them, make them lifelong lovers of your organization and your product. And there is this team interaction and project management. You have a deadline, chasing it, having milestones, delivering it according to your timelines. All of these happen every day in an organization. Has work changed? In all these millennia that we have been doing work has evolved. In fact, in the last several months, it is accelerated. Work from home has become work from anywhere. In fact, my colleague quipped yesterday, work from anywhere except office, as a new acronym. It's changing. What are the work models today? First of all, it is dynamic. They want transparency. They want to participate in decision making. It's a networked environment out there. It is not top down. It is not dictatorial anymore. It is participative. Work is both remote as well as local. Over and over again, we are seeing companies closing their huge headquarters in one central location, thinking about starting smaller branches. The whole world waking up to remote work is a possibility today. They are preferring to work from home or other locations where they feel they could be more productive. You see a person sitting in a bench, you see another at home, and one more at a small office. It is autonomous. Finally, we seem to have realized that the true productive person, the person who is passionate about how productive they start by believing that they are truly autonomous at work. They believe that they are doing the work they have chosen to do. They believe that they have been given complete autonomy. They believe that they can actually afford to make small mistakes and fail fast. That authority, that confidence is making them think in an agile manner, and that's helping the workforce. It's now mobile first. Devices, which used to be a luxury once upon a time, are now becoming ubiquitous. There are now policies and principles in every organization to bring your own device and onboard it into the organization. And more work, more mails are opened on a phone these days than on your laptop or your desktop. It also revolves around the customer. Finally, we seem to have realized why we are in business in the first place. To delight the customer, to show him or her the right way, and probably even give them some things they didn't even know they needed. Finally, we have put the customer in the center, and hence a 360 view of the customer is needed. Work keeps evolving, but there is one little thing that hasn't changed over time. It's communication. Like I said, no man is an island. The ability to communicate among team members. It's multidimensional. It's not just team members. You need internal as well as external communication. You need to work with departments, organization level, at the small team level, intra-team level. You also need to work with customers and partners, as well as temporary employees who you'll have to treat differently. There will be different policies of data sharing and so on. It is multimodal too. There is chat, there is long form email, which is asynchronous, there is voice, and there is video. All of these brought upon us simply because face to face in the same room without any social distancing seems to be a mirage in the future, with no clear indication of when that would again be possible. We are 10,000 employees at Zoho. I'm still fondly, I'm future nostalgic. I'm wondering, when will I get to rub shoulders with those 10,000 lovely employees again? When can I share lunch with them? When can I play cricket with them? So to facilitate multidimensional communication, while also acknowledging that work as a culture has changed, do you have the right toolkits? What do companies typically do? I went around and asked a couple of my friends on LinkedIn, how do you actually use technology to run your business? A lot of them responded, and this was the question I asked specifically. What tools do you use for all these? Project management, intranet, email, invoicing, document sharing, word processing. This is the answer I got. Some of them are famous brands, some of them are probably homebrew. Each of them is in a different shape, specifically because I don't think they work together. A literal Frankenstein monster. So you will notice that some of them are partly on the cloud, partly on premise, running from a server room in the company. Partly they are homegrown by final year college students doing a project on your name. Some of them are purchased from third parties, apps from multiple vendors. Somebody who is very good at project management sells you a project management toolkit. Somebody who is simply amazing with video conferencing gives you a video conferencing tool. These two don't talk the same language. It's a hodgepodge. When you try bringing all these together and live a remote life and plan for a post-COVID future, I'm sorry to say this is how it looks to me. Yes, there will be motion, but would that be the optimal, perfect bliss that you are longing for, that technology blesses you with? I asked them another question. I asked them, of course, I'm not selling Zoho here, but I'm trying to make a strong case for the benefits of an integrated suite. What would you say is the biggest pain point? Answers came. I got 17 different answers. I'm going to share 8 of them with you. And when I go through these 8 answers, I want you to look at what you do in your own company. Do you suffer that pain, or have you found a way to work around it? Multiple invoicing. Some of them are monthly, some of them are annual, some of them are in dollars, some of them are in rupees, some of them could be in kronas. One is a platinum version, the other is an ultimate version, one is a professional version, the another is running in trial. Very hard to manage this. Multiple logins. Particularly think about it today. Today you are living in a world where this screen transports you magically to your office environment. You're at home. You're at your bedroom, in your garden. But this screen somehow magically transforms you into an office environment. This has to log you in. How many logins are you going to juggle? How many password policies are you going to handle? Every day there are at least 2 major break-ins and data leaks. Across the world, some companies' database has been hacked. You need to keep changing your password for that. So what do you end up doing? One says should have 6 letters, another says you have to change it every 2 months, another says can't resemble your username, one more says two-factor authentication is needed. So you end up using your favorite god's name or your girlfriend's name as the password and add a 25 to it. That leads us to the next problem, which is a security breach. In a multi-vendor world, the chain is only as strong as its weakest link. No point strengthening one door with double concrete and metal when you have a glass window somewhere else without any bars. So the more independent third-party components you add to the system you use every day, you are taunting destiny. You are calling for problems, trouble. While these were all very tangible, known problems, here is something that many don't acknowledge. I call it the cognitive overhead. To understand an interface and start being productive in that interface takes time. And when one comes from a clean interface school and another comes from pack everything in it school of design, you need to juggle these two in the same browser window or the same operating system. There is a huge cognitive overload. You can't be in flow. To be in flow is very important for you to actually get productive. It takes few minutes. It takes a few minutes for you to get into flow. When you change the interface from the font to the sizes to where it is, whether it is OK cancel or cancel OK, if everything changes, it is a cognitive overload on you that takes its toll silently without you noticing it. How many interfaces are you juggling with? Do you keep track? Think about that. Then there are data problems. The first problem that I notice is I'm not able to export and import data from one interface, from one service into another. There are format issues. The other insidious problem I often see is some vendors allow import of any data. You can bring them all in, like Hotel California. You can bring it in, but you can't export data so that you will leave us and go to some other organization. Sorry. So when identifying a vendor for your software, find out, do they allow export? We don't ask that question often. We are already vested on a software and we want to know, do you import from this software? Do they have an exit? Find out whether they export and if there is fidelity in the exported data. Is there one uniform format that they'll export it in? Then there are hidden costs. Very often, I think there is this company called Salesforce, I think. If you compare Salesforce with another CRM vendor, take Zoho itself, for example, you will notice that not only is the price of what Salesforce is much more than what Zoho's is, but also what Salesforce brings to the table by default is not what you actually want. There are 14 other add-ons that you will need to anyway bring in and plug and add on before it achieves what you wanted to do, before you can be productive on the new system. This is something Zoho offers out of the box. 50 users free. 51st user, do they ask you to pay for all the 51 users? Till 10 megabytes free. After 10 megabytes, does the cost grow linearly or exponentially? And how should cost grow for storage? Do you have an idea how cheap storage has become? Is somebody pulling a fast one on you by charging for storage? Ask these questions. What are the hidden costs? And this is my personal favorite. When you are in an interface, when you are transporting yourself through this interface into your work environment, you need to find things. You need to find things across these artificial walls between the HR tool and the project management tool, the invoicing tool and the CRM tool. You need to be able to ask for answers to one query, and it should be able to automatically generate data results from across the ecosystem, across the various services that are powering your enterprise. We ignore it. Probably the most frequently used web page is Google for you, the search engine. But quite ironically, we don't give that as much importance when evaluating who do we go to. It is extremely important that you give the credit this deserves, to be able to quickly search for something and get results that span the length and breadth of the organization. And finally, this is something many people realize only quite late. Complexity means a lot of expense, because out of 100 rupees that you're spending, if you're spending 20 rupees for development, 80 rupees is for integration, making it shake hand to all the other alien beings in your enterprise, making it be able to share data in and out. You spend so much more money on the integration part. We call it the integration spaghetti. When you open the bonnet, many people won't let you open the bonnet. Everything is humming fine, just let it. We realize the problem only when something starts smoking, and when you open it, the wiring looks like this. Everything going everywhere else like a spider web. Not one line can be cut without the risk of damaging a very important connectivity between two others. So ask yourself, do you want to spend time growing your business, or do you want to spend time building integrations? Building integrations between products from various different companies that weren't originally intended out of the box to talk to each other in a meaningful manner. This is my favorite reach for the true summit curve. Let me explain it to you. That's where we are. We think it's limited comfort and we are happy about where we are. Wherever we look around, everything goes down. We think that's pain. But the problem is, we fail to realize that it is temporary pain. The pain of the rain before the rainbow. If you take the effort, the temporary pain, to look around you and identify the right product suite, I think you will be able to go to a higher plane of supreme bliss. So yes, everything is chugging along well, but ask yourself, is there any process you're doing by paper? Noting things down in paper? Is there any process that you are overusing the wrong product for? For example, there is a company that does its CRM on a spreadsheet. Was a spreadsheet meant for that? Or are you like the person who has a hammer in hand and everything looks like a nail? So are you using the right tools, and do the tools talk to each other? This is the question you need to ask yourself. Is there something that is dependent on a person's mind and memory? Then you haven't modeled the process at all. You'll have to go back to, why do we need an application? You have to model, you have to get a standard, you have to reduce error, you have to free time. Say hi to Zoho. We have been around 25 years, 45, in fact 51 today, 51 different apps power the enterprise toolkit, the suite that we provide to our customers. We have global presence, 55 million users, more than 300,000 organizations use our software daily, 9,000 plus employees. We are a company based in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai and a few other towns and cities nearby. It's a connected ecosystem. The products talk to each other, share data meaningfully. A single sign-on brings you the whole world. All the problems that we encountered till now, the hell that I passed you through briefly, vanish because Zoho is a single toolkit, a single suite of products that comes from a single company. We have tools for sales and marketing, for email and collaboration, both synchronous and asynchronous collaboration among your teammates. A very large, comprehensive, future-focused finance suite. And we have an office suite which runs simply on your browser. All you need to do is connect internet, open your browser, or open the mobile app, and there is beautiful continuity. We can thumb our nose on competitors who have been around for 20 plus years, even older than us. We have been able to do feature matching. Not only are we one-on-one matched by feature, we have introduced features that native desktop-born software cannot even dream of doing, like live collaboration. We have a human resources suite of apps, right from your resource identification, from raising a requirement for a resource, to hunting for talent, to running the interviews, to conducting the interview, to offering the offer letter, conducting the induction, all the way through the person's arc in the organization to an exit interview. One single suite of products can beautifully handle it. We have IT and a support help desk. And we also have, for all your custom needs, my organization is unique and nobody else has this requirement, so nobody has software for it. What do? Use our custom solution building toolkit. We have Catalyst, we have Zoho Creator. You'll be able to create through drag and drop ease. Right click and add your own code. Tools that can help you achieve the long tail of needs. Things that only you need, things that nobody else in the world probably needs. You can create software for that also. So it's one platform where everything beautifully falls into place. Collaboration, business processes, sales, marketing, finance, communication, human resource, support. Zoho One is what we call it. Stronger together, like the pack of wolves that are probably more deadly than a single lion. Together, they are much stronger. I'm going to show you some examples very quickly. I'll do a time check. I'll quickly take you through some examples. Look at CRM and our support system desk, how they talk with Zoho Books. What you see is the Zoho Books interface, but on the left, as elements, are valuable inputs from the CRM system. One interface that brings contextually relevant information about a vendor, about a purchase, about payments received from the Zoho Books system. Here is CRM. In the CRM interface, you can also look at what are the activities, have the ordered items been delivered, what accounts receivable is pending still from the Books interface. Somebody has raised a customer complaint. Right there on the left, because we have a Books integration built into Zoho Desk, what you're seeing is whether the invoice has been sent, whether the estimate has been raised, whether there is money overdue, payment to be received from this person who has raised the customer complaint. This kind of omniscience, almost like a godly knowledge, knowing everything that is happening about the customer in a 360 manner, 360-degree view, is really useful. It immediately raises the customer's opinion about you, somebody who knows everything. Gone are those days when you had to handle a call and say, I don't know anything about it, I will now pass it on to the other department, and then you'll have to tell the whole story again to that person. With interfaces like these, deeply integrated in the Zoho ecosystem, those horror stories are a thing of the past. Look at Zoho Writer, which is our document management system on the browser. You can create beautiful documents, but with integration with Zoho Sign, you will also be able to legally sign them. Look at what's happening here. I have created an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. I drag and drop relevant forms from the panel on the left, sections and fillable fields. I also tell them who will be the people that will have to sign it. I can even order them. First this person has to sign, then that next person, and so on. I can track what the status of the signature workflow that I launched is. I can even set reminders. Remind this person that the signature hasn't been done. I can collect it. I'll be notified once it is done. So here is a digital signing tool and a word processor tool talking to each other because they are from the same family of Zoho products. Look at WorkDrive. WorkDrive is our file management system on the cloud. It is our central file management system that powers all of Zoho. WorkDrive is integrated with everything that Zoho has to offer. You can track activity, you can track various versions of your product. While launching or a share of a document, you can actually set password. You can give an expiry date after which the file won't be available. And if you're launching it to the outside world, you can even request user data, as you can see in the bottom. Give me your name, give me your email address, you'll be given this PDF for free. Every individual in the WorkDrive ecosystem, every individual has a space. The team he belongs to has a folder. The organization he belongs to has the next large folder, and then the outside world. Beautiful, seamless, audited tracking of documents that move around in the enterprise. That's what you see here. Look at Zoho Mail and how it beautifully interfaces with Zoho Expense. You can reimburse an email. Take a look at this mail that I received from Airtel. Assume I am using this for official purposes, and so I need to raise it as a bill, as a reimbursed bill. So I just activate the e-widget, and immediately on the right I get Zoho Expense popped into the same interface. And it auto scans the attachment, the PDF, and creates an expense entity for me. Or if it is part of the document content itself, it can auto scan the email content and create an expense for me. One button, without moving between interfaces, without having to juggle passwords, without having the cognitive overload of interfaces. Look at Zia. Zia is our intelligent agent. She's a really smart woman. You can type in natural language, and Zoho reports and Zoho analytics will give you relevant dashboards to work with, dynamic dashboards. You can enter data in a spreadsheet, Zoho sheet, and Zia will create an insight by analyzing the data. You don't even need to tell what kind of chart you want to see. It's going to be prescient. It's going to guess what kind of data visualization you will want, and it can create it for you. It can track anomalies. Look at what it's doing up top. It's saying outgoing ticket threads in Zoho Pad has decreased by -33. Trend not seen in the last 30 days. Do you want to intervene? This is a beautiful, valid alert that the manager might want to receive. Instead of watching this once a week or once a month, he might want to be alerted about this so that he can take intrusive action. Analyzing open times of whoever has received our emails. The next time you want to send a mail, Zia can recommend to you, please don't send it this time, send it at this time. It's more likely that this person will open this mail. And because Zia learns wherever you're typing content, whether it is an email or is a trouble ticket closure or as a document, it's listening, it's watching, it's learning. And this acquired information is used only to suit your needs. It's not shared with anybody else. It learns how you work, and it's able to not only just correct your grammar, it's also able to help you with style. That's the length and breadth of AI work at Zoho. Every one of these is really coming into its own because we value our customers' privacy, but at the same time, all the data is not shared with anybody else. The database is unique, customized to you, and we are able to really sift through the data and learn insights from it, because not only is your email data with us, we also have your customer CRM data, we have your project management data, we have your chat information. All of these our machine learning algorithms are able to analyze and create meaningful insights that will help you do your work next. Take this case, for example, the parser. Every time a CRM prospect is created, if we recognize that prospect as somebody who has mailed you or somebody whose Twitter handle is visible in their email, we digest the content of the signature of that person's email, we identify that it is a Twitter handle, we look at the recent tweets that this person has made and show it to you as a nice panel. While you're working with the person in the customer support tool, you'll be really delighted to know that this person has already tweeted about your product. You can guess the sentiment of the person's tweets even without reading the language, because our AI can analyze sentiments. So that is how we are able to provide an explainable AI, a meaningful machine learning system called Zia that is able to learn continuously and help you better. So we saw this picture earlier, all of these coming together. But with Zoho, this is what we have been able to achieve. Seamless transfer of information and sharing of information, two-way between departments. That's how it should be. In fact, we should take it to the next level. We should break down those walls. It should be one fluid and smooth transfer of information, sharing of information. Let me add one more. Meaningful AI, meaningful machine learning, customized to suit your needs. There is much that can be achieved by just digesting one organization's data and using that to help that organization's employees. And not to mention, not to forget, the custom applications that you can create as an extension. If you want to integrate this with some other software suite that you have already invested in, we have out-of-the-box extensions available, and we also have a customizable platform on top of which you can create your own extensions. So it's not a bunch of software you buy when you buy Zoho. You actually buy peace of mind. That's my firm conviction. Now I've come to the end of my talk. I'll quickly try to squeeze in the 2 X factors. May I, Shankar? I will. The first X factor that I wanted to share when talking about technology and talking about software tools, I didn't want us to lose sight of this very important aspect, which is probably non-technological. This is a very famous photo, not because it is Amitabh Bachchan, but because this is one of the 36 last taken photographs. Kodak's last film roll, one of 36, was Amitabh. Why was it the last roll? Kodak is a company that pioneered the camera obscura, the daguerreotype camera, the first camera with film, the first 35mm camera, the first SLR, the first Polaroid, point and shoot, digital compacts in the 1990s. In 2007, it was talking about slimline compacts that you could actually slip into your pocket. What happened? What happened in 2007? This happened. The iPhone came, and just a matter of months later, Kodak filed for bankruptcy and 30,000 employees lost their job. When you analyze what happened, what went wrong, you will notice that it is not some amazing new technology this man brought. This is Gillette. You will remember the famous business model of Gillette of giving the razor away for free and then charging for the blades. But that was a flawed business model for Polaroid and for Kodak, because what they were doing, they were giving the camera away for free and charging for the film. And when digital cameras started coming in, these people at the helm kept asking, where is the film? Where is the printable film? That's where I make my most money. You don't have a film, I don't have a business. So they ignored it until it was too late. So what did Steve Jobs really do with the iPhone? He brought these three things together in a smart fusion. That was an iPod. It was already there. 6 years it's been around. Then there was a phone. Everybody had a phone. Palm had a phone for a very long time. Then there was a browser. What he did was bring these three together into one device, one smart device. So that's my X factor number one. In your quest for new technology, don't miss out on this insight. Bringing usual things together in interesting ways. That will really help. The second X factor that I want to leave you with is this beautiful series that I saw on Netflix called World War II in Color. It talks about why Hitler lost the war. Even though he had the better army, he had the better airplanes, he had stronger tanks, he had more number of fighters, why did he lose? And it comes down to how he actually managed it. He had a bunker somewhere in the middle of the Alps, and that's where he controlled everything. Decisions would be made, messages would be sent by horseback. Many days later, the message would be taken action on, and then a return happened. There was no velocity. In fact, Hitler wrote to his girlfriend, "I am scared. I'm afraid to be away. I cannot leave. I must remain here." Of course you can't leave, because everything is changing all the time, and you want to be having a finger on everything. You can't even breathe. So compare that to this little slime mold. Its name is Physarum polycephalum. Polycephalum means many heads. It doesn't have a brain, it doesn't have a neuron, it's a single-celled organism. But if you place it in a maze, it can actually find the food. Because what it does is it just fills every nook and corner, and when it reaches a dead end, it leaves an ink, a dye behind, so that it recognizes the only brain it has is the edge of these that senses that I have already left a mark and I can't go further. And when slowly that vanishes, you have one final route from where it is to where the food is, and it solves the maze. So this is emergence of intelligence, organic emergence of intelligence over central authority. That's how it solves the maze. They say the octopus has 9 brains. It's not a single-brained organism. It's 9 brains. Why? At the end of each tentacle, it has to, extreme dexterity is needed, and a single brain cannot move it as well as pick and choose and twist and turn. So the central brain manages the 8 brains, and each of these brains manages local activities. And that's what we see with what our CEO, Sridhar Vembu, is doing with his move for self-organization. Atmanirbhar, almost. Transnational localism, we call it. And this is our office in a little town called Surandai. This is another office, no air conditioning, open air. Welcome to walk in, contemplate as well as collaborate. That is our CEO himself coming out of our office in Tenkasi. Each office organizing itself in its own way, its own culture, no central management dictating everything. Yes, there is a sense of, oh my God, what's happening there? I don't know. You don't need to know. Everything grows organically. There is one culture that binds us all. Intelligence at the edges. So that's X factor number 2. Whatever technology you adopt, whatever you decide to invest in, ask it this question. Does it empower my employees? Does it empower my users? Don't look for central management. Look for self-management. So those are the things we saw today. We saw the trends from Gartner. We saw the 21st law. We saw why India is special. We saw what an app is. We saw what work really has become. We wanted you to escape hell. I invited you into Zoho. I told you about 2 X factors One is interesting ways of putting together usual things. The other is empowering the edges. All the best. Thanks a lot.